sé. Allá. Déjame el corte. Vamos a ir tú.
¿Ah? Miguel, que no se te queda calvo. Mira para arriba.
Mira.
Ay, que conociendo.
Como que ha pasado eso.
Conociendo, yo siempre.
Miguel, que cierre la puerta. No sale aire. Está esperando que venga gente. Tiene que decir que viene.
Ay, imagínate.
Welcome to Miami.
Thank you. How are you doing?
Great, I'm doing great.
Awesome.
You're going to Port Everglades, right? You guys are going on.
Eh?
What are you going on, Oasis?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good. Nice ship.
Have
Very
you been
nice.
there? It's our first time in Oasis.
Well, I know it's one of the best ships in Port Everglades. It's probably the best ship in Port Everglades.
Really?
Yeah, unless you count Celebrity. But I think Oasis is better than any celebrity ship. Yep. It's definitely the biggest ship in Port Everglades. Definitely the biggest.
You are very excited.
Good. All right, we'll be there in about 35 minutes, 40 minutes tops.
Yep. So, I know you guys don't pick up like less than four people in Fort Lauderdale. Do you have a recommendation for somebody that can pick up two people in Fort Lauderdale, or you think that Uber will be
Yeah, you should take Uber's the cheapest, yeah, because everybody's got a minimum rate, so Uber's the cheapest.
Yeah, because my mom is gonna arrive today. So, yeah, yo no te pero el vuelo de ella se retrasó 2 horas. Por el vuelo. Ellos hubieran llegado a las 10. Estoy esperando que me llamen.
¿Ya pagado el pasaje? Extra luggage.
That's Messi's soccer field.
I was going to ask you about that. Last time we were here, he wasn't there.
Yeah, that was a golf course.
Yes.
We used to live here.
They're going to be doing, you know, there's a like a 6-city tour that FIFA's doing all of a sudden now in America,
Really?
and that's going to be one of them. So that's why they built it too. It's a new thing that they're introducing soccer to America, where they're going to get the 6 best teams in the world to compete against 6 big cities, and Miami built that because Messi's on the Miami team, and he's going to be competing. So they decided, well, since he's going to be one of the teams, let's make it where it's the best soccer game ever in North America. So they're thinking when that competition happens, this Miami soccer game will be the best soccer game ever in North America, because all the other soccer fields are already available, but they're not going to be as good as this. And this is Miami, and this is where he lives, and this is where he plays.
And of course, Beckham being the owner of the Miami team has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. and most and everybody in South Florida is a footballer, you know.
Right.
Yeah, they're all South Americans here, you know. So they're all into football.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
So they're gonna name the stadium Messi Stadium?
No, it's called Freedom Park.
Nice. Yeah, the MLS has been pushing hard for soccer to grow in America.
Yeah, I mean,
Messi coming to Miami.
It's really because of the South Americans that have come into Miami that they started the trend, and David Beckham noticed that, and he worked a long time ago to say the only way we can kickstart soccer in Miami is if we get Messi here. He's not going to come without his family, so he has to come with his family, and he has to come with 5 or 6 of his top players. So they made it happen. I mean, he bought like 5 pieces of property down here for him and his friends to all stay in, and his family, all the way from downtown Miami to Fort Lauderdale, because that's where the field is now, in Fort Lauderdale, and that's where he plays now. Inter Miami plays in Fort Lauderdale now. That's going to be their new stadium once it's complete. So basically, David Beckham was very smart, and he's part of that. He's part owner of that team.
Right.
Yeah.
So when David Beckham went to LA, then they got Wayne Rooney, then they got Ibra. They didn't do as much push as Messi's doing now.
Yeah.
Because Messi is still on his prime.
And it's also the Mexicans aren't really big footballers, and the Mexicans are in California. The South Americans that put football on the map, they're all living in Miami.
Yep.
They don't go to California, you know what I mean? It's too expensive in California. The Mexicans go to California. There's not a lot of Mexicans here. It's really South Americans here. I mean, I guess Mexicans are kind of South American, but not really to me. I'm talking about south of Mexico.
Colombia.
Argentina, Colombia, Venezuela. Peru and Brazil.
Yep.
All of those countries, those people have migrated here over the past 20 years, and they're all footballers. And they can't watch it. They haven't been able to watch it. So they've only been able to watch European football, and now they're going to be able to watch American football, and more importantly, now they're going to be able to go to the games, which they come from all the way in South Miami, all the way to Fort Lauderdale to see Messi, and they're like. They take over the whole town. They're selling T-shirts. They're selling bootleg T-shirts in the street, the pink ones. Mm-hmm. The police are trying to round them all up because Messi and all his friends are all mad. But that's capitalism, you know. You want to invite people from Miami to pay $400 a ticket to come to Fort Lauderdale. They're gonna make some money. They're gonna sell some T-shirts. So that's what they're doing up there. Every game, there's guys in the street. And just selling T-shirts, $20, but the real T-shirts cost $100. But they're much better quality. The ones they're selling are from China, but they look just as good, but they're pieces of crap. You wash them 3 times and they fall apart. It's actually good to wear at the game.
Right.
And then after that, you're not going to wear it much longer. Maybe you wear it 1 or 2 other times.
Well, let me tell you, that location is awesome for that station.
Yeah, they couldn't really build anything there because it's too close to the airport. So that's why they had the golf course there, because God forbid something happens, you're not going to put a tower there.
Right.
That, the plane can malfunction, hit the tower. At least if it hits the soccer field, it can't really do any damage except for the grandstands, which is just concrete. Nobody's going to be in them, obviously, at the time. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. Yeah.
So what's the ETA for that completion?
I don't know, but I can't believe how fast they're doing
I was
it.
going to say
And
they
it's-
got pretty fast.
And if you think about it, it's easy to build a soccer field, right? I
Right,
mean,
and now that World Cup is coming to America in 26,
yeah, that's big
they
too.
maybe that's why they're in a rush.
Maybe too. They're going to do something there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If it was a golf course already, it was already flattened,
Yeah.
and then all they did is get rid of the. A lot of golf courses are flat anyway.
Right.
So all they did was, take the grass away, make it more flat, put some stones on it, and then they were ready to build on it.
Nobody was going to that golf course anyway.
No, the golf course was dead. Yeah. So that's pretty exciting.
That's good.
Yeah.
Miami's
I'm gonna go.
stopping.
I'm definitely gonna go. I mean, I got to check it out.
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely gonna go one day just to check it out. I've went to football here. I went to baseball here. I went to hockey here. Those are the 3 sports. And then now this will be soccer, so I'll definitely check that out at least once.
We got to plan a vacation in Miami when soccer season kicks on. Yeah. And I mean, those jerseys, not big. From Barcelona to Miami, who would have thought?
Yeah. I can't believe he doesn't speak English yet, but I can't believe it. Like all the race car drivers and all the people that grew up in international sports, all are bilingual. And it's very hard to believe that he hasn't, because he's been in the spotlight since he was a teenager, and he's a grown man now.
Yeah.
And he's traveled the world. How do you not speak English by now?
Yeah.
He really, not that he needs money, but his brand is not nearly as big as it could have been if he
I was gonna say
if he
that.
was able. Like David Beckham even needs a translator, because David Beckham doesn't even speak Spanish.
Right.
So David Beckham doesn't really hang out with them. They go to dinner together, but it has to be someone else. David Beckham isn't having a meeting with Messi. It's got to be his wife. I think his wife speaks a little English. His kids speak English, but no, he doesn't. And I don't think he wants to learn English. I don't blame him. But
Yeah, I mean, he said,
he speaks Portuguese and he speaks Spanish, but he doesn't speak English. Yeah. But then again, he doesn't have a lot of English-speaking fans. I mean, bilingual, yes, but 90% of his fans are Latin, and they speak his language. So if he was walking around, there's not that many Americans that are going to be able to communicate with him. They might say hello and give him an autograph. He actually went into the Whole Foods where I live, and he took a picture with the butcher, and they put the picture on the wall. So in my Whole Foods where I live, not Whole Foods, Fresh Market, where I live, there's a picture of Messi and the butcher, because he lives not too far from there, and he went in and they recognized him. They took a picture of him. Yeah, it was kind of cool.
I'm sure he got a fresh cut of meat for free that day.
Yeah, supposedly he's a big barbecuer. Supposedly it goes into Fresh Market.
He seems nice.
There's a lot of it's one of the best butchers in Fort Lauderdale by the beach, and he goes in there and buys a lot of meat and barbecues a lot.
I just love his place. I mean, when I read about that, he can take his car all the way up to
Yeah, that's the Porsche building, I think.
Right.
Yeah, that's in Sunny Isles.
That's insane.
He's got 5 properties down here, and all his teammates come and the teammates aren't as wealthy as him, but they need him. He needs them.
Right.
He can't really win without them, right? Because you know how a soccer team works,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's kind of like a receiver and a quarterback. It's kind of like that. Quarterback and a receiver kind of got their way to work together, Well, Messi brought his people down. That's why he's got all these properties, because he owns them, but he lets his friends that play with him stay in there, and then I guess they're going to eventually probably buy something down here too. I'm sure they're making more money now than they've ever made in their life now, because Miami's paying them a lot of money to come here.
Oh, yeah.
And David Beckham made sure that this was a big payday for them, because they didn't want to leave their country. They didn't want to leave. Their family didn't want to go. You know, their wives, their kids maybe did, but not the wives. Say goodbye to everybody to come to Miami. I mean, people like to visit here, but if you're from South America and you're living that life over there, I don't know that you would want to come here. Plus, it's so much more expensive here also.
Yeah.
If you're a millionaire in South America, it's very different than if you're a millionaire here.
Right, and I think he was already going to court because tax evasion.
Yeah,
At one point.
Exactly, yeah. So maybe this helps him that he's here. Maybe he can bring his money here, and I'm sure David Beckham helped him with that, because this is a better place to invest and a better place to make money. America is a better place. If you're a multi-millionaire, I think it would be better to have your money locked up in real estate down here, you know, rather than anywhere in the world, anywhere else. Our real estate laws are probably better here than anywhere in the world. You know, this is why wealthy people come, especially in Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Wealthy people are coming here every day to buy property.
I must say, David Beckham was a mastermind when he got this out.
Yeah, he's in Miami a lot. He's in Brickell. There's an area in Miami called Brickell, and he goes there a lot with his wife and his friends for dinner, because he lives on Brickell too. Messi lives a little north of Brickell, but David Beckham lives in a really high-end condo in downtown Miami called the Brickell Avenue section.
Why doesn't he live on Star Island like everybody else?
No.
I don't think it's Star Island as
Happening anymore?
as before.
Like in the old days.
No, I think it'll always be happening.
You think so?
Yeah. That's where P. Diddy lives. A lot of celebrities live there. And the houses and the island, it's an island. You know, how can an island ever not be fashionable, right? It's an island, and it's right off Miami Beach. And it's looking at the cruise ships in Miami. All the cruise ships are lining up. So when you leave the island on your bridge, you see all the cruise ships lined up. Oh boy, look at this. This is not good. I was going to take the express lane all the way to the port, and now there's been an accident, as usual.
Right here.
The most dangerous highway in America, this is. Yeah. I-95 South. Where are you going? And the distance between Palm Beach and Miami is the most dangerous part of 95. So this highway, from Maine to Miami, this highway goes up and down the East Coast. The most dangerous highway in America. And then the distance between Palm Beach to Miami is the most dangerous part of the highway. This part we're on right now. Yeah, every trip I do, there's an accident mostly. So this is definitely an accident because they shut the express lane. There's no real reason to shut it. They're not doing construction today. Yeah, see these cones? People drive over these cones too.
Yeah, they do that over there too.
Yeah, they drive over the cones, and both ways really. And then the cones fly in the air, and then it creates an opening. And then when there's an opening, some people think that they can go through it. Like a tourist will be looking at the GPS, and they're in that lane by accident, and then the GPS tells them to make a right. They go right over right in between and go, and then they hit a car. Yeah, they think that lane is empty for them, and it's not. None of these lanes are for merging. It's just very dangerous. If you don't know where you're going and you're trying to use the GPS over here, not very safe.
K8 and
See, that highway up there is an overpass that's faster than going this way, you know? That's what they closed. They closed that whole highway up there, yeah. But you know what? It's Saturday. There shouldn't be a lot of traffic anyway.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the advantage of time when you're driving in Mississippi.
What happened? You couldn't get a flight into Fort Lauderdale?
It was cheap.
Miami was cheaper?
Yeah.
It's usually the other way around. Yeah, usually Fort Lauderdale's cheaper than Miami.
Construction too around here.
Yeah, they're redoing all new highways. Yeah, I don't think they're working today, but they work every day. they're working in downtown Miami. They work on Saturday, but up and down this highway they don't.
You guys having an iguana issue?
Any what?
Iguana issue?
Why do you say that?
Because everybody's talking about Florida having an iguana
Yeah,
infestation.
we're allowed to kill them with air guns if they're on our property.
Really?
Yeah, I shoot them. I got an air gun. I shoot them.
You eat them?
No, a lot of people eat them in Miami. Not that many people eat them up here where I live in Fort Lauderdale. But you got your there's the accident right there. Oh, it's just a flat tire. Yeah, a lot of people in Miami eat them. You eat them?
No, I haven't had the chance yet.
Yeah, there's restaurants in Miami that serve it.
I mean, it might, alligator. I mean, if there's so much meat around, might as well, make something out of it. I don't know.
I would never. I would not want it. If I was like on an island and had to cook one and eat one, I would. But with all the different types of food that I get to eat living where I live, that's on the bottom of the list. Yeah. I'm not making an effort to try something like that. But yeah, Miami people grow chickens in the backyard. They raise eggs. They grow eggs. They have the chicken grow the eggs, so lay the eggs. So Miami, I can see them doing that. They eat the they kill the chickens and eat them. They mate the chickens so they can have eggs. Yeah, they kill the iguanas and eat the iguanas. They go fishing and then they eat the fish that they catch. Miami's, a lot of people, not Americans, but a lot of South Americans and Asian, Latinos down there. They're living like they're on the islands over there in Miami.
So what do you do with the iguana when you kill it? Feed it to the alligator?
No, there's no alligators here. The alligators are out west.
Really?
Yeah, the alligators are in fresh water. So right now, everything east of 95, those big buildings are the beach. See those big buildings? So that's how close we are to the beach. This highway goes all the way up the coast and all the way up to Maine. And sometimes it goes far from the beach and sometimes it goes close to the beach. But in Florida, it's very close to the beach because Florida's long and skinny, right? So everything on the right side or the east side of this highway is fresh water coming from the lakes. I'm sorry, it's salt water coming from the ocean into the canals, right? There's inlets, like where the cruise ships go out, right? The cruise ships go out, all that salt water comes in, right? But in the middle of the state, we have Lake Okeechobee, which is the giant lake with fresh water. And those canals go from the lake towards the beach.
Okay.
So the fresh water is coming east, the salt water is coming west. The alligators live in lakes, they don't live in the ocean. So as they swim in the canal towards us, they taste the salt water and they go back.
Gotcha.
So some of them, when they're babies, come here, and then if they're babies, they can kind of get used to a little salt water, but not full salt water. You're not going to see an alligator in the ocean, but it's called brackish water. So brackish water means half salt, half fresh. An alligator that was born in that environment could live in it, but a big alligator that's coming from the lakes can't live in brackish water. So it's very rare that you would see an alligator on this side of the highway, and the more on this side of the highway you go towards the Everglades, the more you'd see alligators. But I don't see them because I'm always around the beach and always around this area. Yeah, I'm not out west very much. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. When I kill the iguana, I throw them in the garbage can. I put them in a plastic bag and throw them in the garbage can. A lot of times I kill them, they're on top of my bougainvillea plant. So I kill them and they don't really fall all the way down because there's thorns on the plant, and it kind of catches them. So they really die in the tree, and then a lot of flies will eat it for like the next 3 days. It'll smell pretty bad, and then eventually it'll be a skeleton, and then the skeleton just disintegrates. So most of the iguanas that I kill, they never make it out of the tree. They get caught because they shake. When you kill them, they shake, and when they shake, the thorns get them, and they can't go nowhere, and then they die, and then the flies get them. Yeah. Big snakes that eat the iguanas, right? In South America, the biggest snakes eat the iguanas, right? Here, nothing eats the iguana, so the iguana will live his whole life. No predator. The iguana has no predator here.
As the plane was landing, I see all these houses right next to the Everglades.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
Yeah, they have alligators there. They have snakes there. But the snakes over there, they'll eat the iguanas over there, but we don't have those snakes here because we have salt water, right?
Yeah.
Iguanas will jump in salt water and live in salt water. Yeah, iguana can jump in salt water and swim and live next to. Yeah, iguanas like salt water, but snakes don't like salt water. Snakes like fresh water. So out in the Everglades, those iguanas are getting killed all the time by those snakes. But since we don't have snakes here, yeah, they live till they're as long. They're as wide as this van. Some of them.
Really?
They must have, each one of those big ones must have had 1,000 babies.
Wow.
Yeah. When they're that big, you don't really get a chance to see them unless they're on somebody's property and that person wants them there. And that iguana doesn't leave that property. He knows that that's his property. So now and then, that's why you're not allowed to kill an iguana on someone else's property. It's against the law.
Okay.
You can only kill an iguana if it's on your property. So if that iguana came to my house, I could kill it. But he doesn't. There's a couple of really big ones on my neighbor's property. He's got a nice big piece of property, and they're big, and they stay there because they know they're safe. I think that's why they stay there.
And they see those as pet.
Yeah.
Assuming.
Yeah. He likes them. So I'd say half of the population like them, and the other half don't. I don't like them because they eat all the flowers and they eat all the vegetables. I have a star fruit tree. They eat all the star fruits off the tree, and I like star fruits. So, and then on top of that, when they go to the bathroom, they do it on the sidewalk, and sometimes the dogs eat it, and the dog gets sick and die if the dog eats it. So the droppings from an iguana is poisonous to certain dogs, and most dogs will eat it just for the hell of it because they're stupid. So I learned that's a big reason why a lot of people with dogs do not want them near anywhere where they could eat some iguana droppings. Yeah, we're passing Fort Lauderdale Airport now, and then the port. See Port Everglades right there? Yeah. And you can see the ship too, watch. Maybe. No, maybe not. Oh wait, there it is right there. See the smoke coming up?
Oh yeah.
That's your ship right there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's waiting for us.
Yeah.
Pueden llamar, pueden caminar.
That's a princess ship right next to yours.
Mira de este lado.
Ay, yo feliz. Ay, yo feliz. Párate en la esquina.
Yeah, that's the one. Oasis.
Es que me dice que si yo puedo ir sola allá con Marco, me dice que da acá con su hermano. Y yo, párate en la esquina.
It's a cruise ship. Oasis. 2008. 2008? Yeah, but they remodeled it in 2018.
Hold on, I have a question.
Yeah.
On the return one, I need to add a passenger. How do I do that?
You just got to make a payment online.
Would you send me that, please?
Okay.
Él estaba diciendo que es una
Oh, yeah. La gente la que mano allá. What? Pero mira dañando la sorpresa. Lo veo dañando hermano. Oh, no. Él lo vio. No.
No, ya.
Le dijiste que le va a bailar un enanito de tres.
Yo quiero ir para ver.
Bailar de enano. Danza.
Yo quiero ver el enanito.
El enanito era Miguel, tratamos de cortarlo.
Mira, que me dice Miguel de que tú puedes vivir sola con Michael, tú puedes vivir sola con Michael ya. Yo me voy a quedar acá y yo voy para ti.
Ya se te olvidó. Y esto es por aquí, si te pones el monte, por ejemplo, en la
Oh, wait. Thanks. All right, your vacation starts now. This might be the only time you see a view of the back of this ship, which looks amazing, because we're actually driving in a way where the whole back of the ship is going to be right in front of us. Yeah, watch this when I make this left, how the back of the ship looks. I always take a video of it. This is the biggest ship that's ever at this terminal. Come on, man, you should be in the intersection. Hello. Go, come on. Come on. Come on. Go. There you go. Come on. You got it. Go ahead. Go. There you go. There you go. All right.
It's a woman driving.
I didn't say nothing about that. I mean, that doesn't matter. Come on.
Not being sexist or anything.
No, it's to stop the woman thing.
Oasis.
Pretty cool, huh? The back of that thing is amazing.
been on the sister ship with the Harmony Oasis.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, Symphony too.
No, we went to Harmony.
Ya estoy perdida.
Ya se Valesca. Welcome back, sir.
Oh, sí, ya.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. Welcome back, sir.
¿Tiene usted su diamante ya?
Casi.
Casi.
Que verano, pero ¿por qué sí?
Oye, porque sin diamante te ganas.
Vamos al Diamond Lounge. ¿Y ustedes?
Ahora que somos que cobre.
El cobre. Mira adelante, que mira adelante.
No, somos arriba ahora.
Black, black.
Sí, tenemos.
Ya amarilla.
No, todas las primeras, después son blancas.
We take the seatbelt off. Everybody look up here. Just take your time as you get out. I know you're in a hurry, but look.
So does that happen a lot? People
Yes,
overhead?
especially if I don't say it. I say I'm holding on.
Makes sense.
Oh, que no la pongan todavía en la maleta.
I'm gonna help you with this. All right, remember everybody, watch your head.
Quería haberlo cogido. Atiende.
All right, bye-bye. Have a great cruise. You're welcome. Thank you, sir.